You see there, they're fumigating that house. I'm about to have my house fumigated, so I want to kind of give you a rundown of how this works and what goes on. Kind of fun. This is the road that I live on, and it's a dirt road. They're getting ready to pave this thing. Anytime you fumigate your house, you have to have the gas turned off. In my case, the gas company comes out and does that. The fumigation company is the one that calls to have the gas turned off, and I'm the one that calls to have the gas turned on. Alright, this is the warning they got to put up before they let anybody put any poison in there. They have to have these signs all throughout the house, and the gas company puts up a sign also that says nobody's allowed to enter. This is very important. This stuff will kill you. So when they tint the house, they have to put this tarp completely over the whole thing. There you go. So these little things like this right here, this goes and holds the tarp down. That way when they fill it in with gas and whatnot, it actually doesn't come up and release all the gas. And they have these long tubes like this, they fill up with water that holds the tarp down. There you go. So you've got the gas on the back. They'll take this, and this is what they use to fill up the house to poison the bugs. When you have, depending on what kind of bugs you have, they have to have a more thick solution. Just for termites, it's essentially 1 bottle or so. For bed bugs and things like that, it could be 1.5 or 2. So it depends on how big your house is and what all you're trying to kill. So any plants that you have, for instance here we have plants in front of this house, all those plants are going to be covered. So before the house is tinted, you have to do a full watering of everything that's there. That way the roots are able to get more moisture in, because there's a drying effect with the gas that is going into the house. And if you don't have them properly watered ahead of time, you actually could basically starve or dehydrate your plants. Now they try to go behind the plants when they can, like for instance that palm, he just went behind the palm. That's what they try to do to keep the plant alive. But that's completely up to them. Sometimes they can't go behind it, sometimes they have to go in front of it. Fruit trees and things like that, you pretty much can't eat anything that's been on them after they've done it. So it's nice that we have a fruit tree outside in the front. Okay, here you can see these little tubes that he's put on the side. That weighs down the tarp so that it can't release any of the gas. So these tarps, they could be filled with sand or they could be filled with water. These ones in particular I believe are filled with sand or something similar. And it just weighs it down. That's all it is. All the way around. Where they have to piece together tarps, they'll use these little clips just like those. They could tape it up, they could clip it up, but they have to make sure it's completely closed off. And that's why also you'll see all these clips here on the back of the truck, a big old bin of clips, because they got to make sure that tent doesn't open up. So they'll roll it into itself and clip it down. Okay, what they're doing right now is they're taking the tents, they're bunching them up, they're actually connecting them. Up at the top he was just clipping one to the next. So they're trying to get it all combined. Everywhere where it's not touching, they have to have the clips bring it together. It has to be like a balloon. It has to be completely engulfed over the top of the house. Where you see this jutted out, this is actually where I have my pool equipment, because I do have a pool. I have it jutted out, and they go around the pool equipment, and then they suck it back in behind where the gas meter is, because they're not allowed to put it over the top of the gas meter. Explosions have happened in the past, so they bring it down and around. So anyone who works on these have to be extremely careful up on the roof, just as anybody who works on the roof would. Alright, when you fumigate your house, you also have to tie up the food that's in your house in 2 bags. Here's the first bag, here's the second bag. I gotta tighten that up, zip it up, and have it ready. You even have to double tie, double bag everything in the freezer. And this is what it looks like when they put the tent down. It's all starting to come down. Here's our bags all prepared. We got it tied on the outside, tied on the inside. We made sure we had all the doors locked for security. See that little belt thing on his shoulder right there? All his clips. Common things that happen if people burglarize fumigation, houses that are fumigated. I didn't get a copy of the re-entry notice for you guys, but before you can enter into the house, you have to have a re-entry notice. That also means if you have the gas turned on or something to do with the electric company, you have to have a re-entry notice before you or anybody else is allowed to enter the house after a fumigation order. And what they do is the fumigation company will go out to the property and they will test the air to make sure it's safe for humans to come inside. But it's pretty easy. They let it air out for 24 hours before they allow anybody in. I'm going to show you the vegetation and how the vegetation mostly dies after fumigation. Now, the fumigation is pretty easy. We were in there, we were out. We got everything ready. We left, and a couple days later, we came back. Now, we checked on our house while it was fumigated to make sure nobody was going around the house or getting inside the tent. There are some crazy people to try to burglarize you. So I'm going to show you what the vegetation looks like now, now that it's been 3 months since the fumigation, or 2 months since the fumigation, and you can see the growth that's come. All right, here's the growth after the fumigation. It actually killed all the ferns. However, we did keep it watered the whole time. We kept the sprinklers on the whole time the fumigation was going. These big old plants here in the front had died. However, they're starting to come back. See right there, just keeping it watered, and we had to cut back all the old ferns. We're getting all the stuff coming back up. Over here, these bushes actually weren't affected at all. And the tarp did go over the top of them. They did have some dead. Some death that occurred right there. So some of the plant died. Even this down here, this is what happened. Is this big old cone of green turned into this big old cone of purple of death. But now it's starting to come back. You can see it here, here some more, and I'm not sure if it's going to actually come out or not. I'm still anxious to see what's going to happen with this. This part obviously is dead, but I think that might actually come out and be green yet. So we'll see. These plants that are right here, those are actually the brand new leaves that came out. The old ones had come out and we've already cut those off. So we had a lot of dead vegetation. Some of it, see right there, some of it starting to come back. But in the end, that's what you can expect when you fumigate your house. There you go. And these plants were never affected. So some plants will be affected and some won't. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions about fumigation, ask down below. It actually was pretty easy. The fumigation cost me about $2,600 total for the fumigation, and then it is additional $200 for some spraying after on the inside and outside of the house to make sure everything that needed to die died. Yeah, so if you have any questions about fumigation, the process, what all is involved, you can go ahead and ask me a question down below. We ended up doing an Airbnb for, I believe it was 3 nights in Anaheim. It cost us about $110, $120 a night is what it ended up being. So most people, when they get their houses fumigated, they'll go on a vacation for the weekend, and that's probably the most common thing. But some people will have their houses fumigated before you complete the purchase. So the sellers usually will do that before the close escrow. But sometimes you just have to do it to get rid of stuff that your tenants left behind. Ugh. That's one of those things that sometimes is a necessary evil, so to speak, with real estate investing. I hope that you don't have to run into that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.